Human impact on the planet is intensifying because of rapid globalization, overconsumption, and other damaging practices. We think behavioral and infrastructural changes are really important to ensure that we are living sustainably. Our project aims to understand students' attitudes and perceptions around plastic water bottle use and determine the barriers that they face in implementing sustainable water consumption practices on campus. To do this, we analyze survey data from resident students, and we hope to use these insights to create recommendations to promote long-term use of reusable water bottles.
Firstly, let's analyze the quantitative data. When analyzing the quantitative data, we found that the survey responses illustrate our problem perfectly. A surprisingly large amount of resident students, namely 80%, purchase single-use plastic bottles, and 60% of resident students store single-use plastic bottles in their residence rooms. Despite these numbers, 65% of students state that they would support efforts to reduce the use of single-use plastics, demonstrating that with effective initiatives in place, progress is achievable and attainable.
One of the qualitative short answer questions asked in the 2019 survey was, what would you do to reduce or eliminate the use of single-use plastic in residence? Our team analyzed the responses and identified three main themes. The main themes that we found are convenience, where students wanted more fountains and easier access to reusable bottles. Trust and safety, which included students requesting filtered water and a cleaner environment, and a plastic ban. Finally, another common theme, which involves students bringing their own reusable cups to on-campus eateries and possibly receiving incentives for doing so.
So next, we used our current knowledge of campus and building infrastructure paired with insights from the data to make observations about student behavior. Our interpretations are not final conclusions, but rather mere speculation that can be supported or rejected with further research. When comparing factors between residences, we found that in general, presence of LLCs, age of residences, and proximity to eateries did not significantly change the perceptions between residences. However, there are pieces of data and trends that stood out to us the most. We'll start off with Edwards Hall. Built in 1930, it's one of the two oldest residence buildings on campus. Our team found it interesting that this residence had the highest percentage of students suggesting improvements to the overall cleanliness of Hamilton water, with students directly mentioning dirty water, tastes weird, and sewage leak. When discussing possible reasoning for these results, we considered whether this could have stemmed from a lack of trust in the infrastructure and water quality in older buildings. Similarly, Edwards Hall also had the second highest percentage of students asking for the installation of more filters. Some of the newer residences, namely Kai's and LLP, had the lowest percentage of students asking for the installation of more fountains, which may suggest that these residences are more equipped with the infrastructure to help students in refilling their bottles. The final significant observation our team made was that Kai's also had the highest percentage of students asking for a reusable green box or eco-container program for drinks. This is relevant considering that these students have more accessibility to food locations and they can purchase from the bottom floor of their residence and conveniently take these food items back to their own common spaces.
Overall, we found that it appears that students are motivated to use reusable water bottles through factors like convenience and trust in quality of water. Therefore, we think it will be valuable to look into the following questions to determine more concretely how these factors influence student decisions and whether changes to these factors can translate to a change in student behavior. We know that after the survey year, filtered water spouts were installed in residence kitchens. We recommend assessing whether student perceptions and behaviors changed after this installation. Are students even aware that the spouts in kitchens filter water? Would students reduce their usage of plastic water bottles if there were more water fountains in residence? As well, since students appear to be concerned about water cleanliness and quality, would education and transparency about the way our tap water is already filtered impact student perceptions? Finally, although not directly related to our research question about student perceptions of water bottle use, we found that many students suggested a reusable drink or bring your own bottle program for eateries, and we think that this is an interesting aspect to examine. Finally, we also suggested some changes to the residence survey with questions more targeted to reusable water bottle use and not general single-use plastic use. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and we will now take any questions you have.